Hey folks, hope you guys are having a good New Year's Eve. Some of you maybe are like me in that you're not going to be out partying too much, so you can hang out for a little bit. Still don't have the office like all the way set up, so the lighting's a little bit weird tonight, and that's just kind of how it's going to be, and that's okay as far as I'm concerned. Had a bunch of little things like come up to make transitioning into a new space really in the same house a little bit difficult. One of those was my studio monitors died. Now I kind of resurrected them from the dead several times, so this was not a completely out of the blue kind of thing. But basically, I had one of the channels kind of die out, and I ended up like taking them apart and trying to solder them. What went out was this little physical switch that they had in them. These were a pair of Mackeys, and tried to jumper off you take the switch out and jumper it, and it ended up just coming out as mono. I'm like, it's not at that point. It's no longer worth my time to try to continue fixing them. So I just bought some new ones. They're way louder, I bought some PreSonus ones, and so they're pretty booming. I may need to adjust them more. I have my actual monitor volumes at like 10%, and they're really loud. So I may do some like input gain adjustment, turn them down a little bit, just to keep it as clean as possible and also not overpoweringly loud. They're very loud, so good for that. Then I encountered another problem, which was that these bigger speakers, I have 3 monitors. I couldn't get them positioned in a way that I could actually hear them properly. And they're still not in the best position possible. But what I ended up doing was I bought some extra VESA mounts and lifted up my monitors. So then I lifted up my computer monitors and then put my studio monitors, the sound speakers, below them, so that the speakers are actually, there's nothing, they're not like banging into the back of the speaker, removing all the detail. So that's interesting. It's still not perfect. What I might do, and after I paid for the VESA mounts and stuff, I stopped and I thought, and I was like, you know what I should have done is just bought a 4K TV as a monitor. This is like the new hotness that a lot of people are doing for productivity, not for gaming or stuff like that. Though you could have a really good gaming experience with a 4K TV, but basically a 4K TV in terms of resolution is like 4 HD monitors put together. So if you were looking at it as like 4 HD monitors arranged in a rectangle, but just one large work surface, and you got a fairly large TV and put it fairly close to you, that's what it's like. It's like having 4 monitors. So a lot of people are really liking that productivity workflow, and I'm like, man, I really should have just done that, because I probably could have gotten one. Okay, all my monitors are fairly old. I've got this ultra wide monitor I realized back in, I think I bought it in 2014 or 2000. I think 2014 is when I bought it. So it's pretty old at this point, 7 years old, let's say. More than that, actually. So almost 8. I bought it early in 2014. It was like one of the few things I splurged on. I bought a new keyboard and I bought an ultra-wide monitor. And I love it, but it's 1080p. It's not like a 4K monitor. But if I had 4 of those, it would be like even more workspace than, I worked doing OCR for a few years, and I used 4K TVs. Yeah, I just think it'd be really good for productivity. I kind of should have just done that. Then with that, I could have actually put the speakers, could have put the sound monitors like really at ear level, kind of just put them on a box or built some stands for them and put them at ear level so that they were really, really clear. It's actually not necessary that they be completely at ear level because they're so loud. It's not that, One time I tried to fix some earphones. I soldered them, and when I watched some YouTube videos, I could only hear the background music on certain videos. That's weird. That is a weird thing. Maybe there's you might have reversed So if you reverse the polarity of the headphones, you can actually, if you have one speaker with a reverse polarity, you can create all kinds of phase canceling that will just make everything sound weird. And it'd be possible with like a mono sound, you could like kill the main, like the voice, because that's coming equal out of both speakers. And then you can get some weird effects if you reverse the polarity. So if you reverse the polarity on a speaker, what happens is it goes completely out of phase. So when the speaker should be energized to push forward, it is instead pushing backwards. And so if you set up speakers with the same audio channel, but you reverse the polarity of one of them, they'll phase cancel each other, and it'll just sound bizarre because one sound wave will be up and then the exact same frequency sound wave will be down, and it's like antimatter meets matter, and they just cancel each other out and it disappears. Kind of a fun little thing there. It's actually kind of a cheap way to lower the vocals in most. If you want to create like a ghetto karaoke track, you reverse the polarity of one of the speakers, and then because the vocals are usually mono, they're coming out equal power out of both speakers in most like pop recordings. It just like makes the vocal track just get so quiet you can't hear it. It phase cancels it. But all the instrumentals, because they're panned out in stereo left and right, they have much less phase canceling, so you can still hear them. You can still hear the drums for the most part and things like that. It usually makes the whole thing sound a little bit weird though. Whatever happens to be panned in the center, you're just gonna like lose that, whatever that thing is. But most engineers, when they're doing a stereo mix, nothing's really in the center except like important stuff like vocals. So anyway, that's a fun little thing. Miss out on a cyberpunk multi-monitor setup? Nonsense. Abstraction and surrealism over efficiency. Yeah, I because I missed Christmas, I thought it'd be fun to do play a little bit more Final Fantasy. Have a little bit more fun. I saw that the Final Fantasy VII remake actually came out for PC. And I was like, they were selling it for $70. And I know that there's people that are going to buy it for $70. And I was thinking about that. Because that's a PlayStation game that's almost 2 years old at this point. So you're paying $70 for a game that's 2 years old and is probably a bad PC port. I have the Nier Automata PC port, and it's got a lot of problems. But it does run in ultra wide, which looks pretty cool, and it's a good game, So I saw that and I was like, well, and then the system requirements, I remember looking at those and I was like, those are pretty extreme. What gets me about PC gaming, so how shall I start with this? Here's one of the big problems with modern PC gaming. We're about to play a game that is now like 25 years old or something, 26 years old, almost 27 years old. Problem with modern PC gaming is that PC gaming has always been an enthusiast area. I shouldn't say always or like 100% an enthusiast area because Blizzard would always make their games run on a really wide variety of hardware. And World of Warcraft, when it came out in 2004, could run, it needed like 500 megabytes of RAM or something. Like really something today we'd be like, that's not any RAM. That's no RAM. But it could run on like nothing. You could run on a potato. What I've realized as time has gone on these last couple of years is that not only is PC gaming hardware getting more expensive, it's gotten more expensive for the next upgrade for like several years, actually for a while now. I remember when they came out with the NVIDIA Titan card. It was like a $2,000 video card. And I was like, $2,000 video card. I was used to like kind of scratching my head over $400, GPU cards. It's like, man, that's a lot for a GPU. Ooh, that's like top end GPU back in the day. But it keeps getting more expensive to where now people are paying, $3,000 to get their hands on an RTX 3090, like the top of the line card. And it's a year into the cycle of the top of the line card. So are they going to come out with a 4000 series, To even get a like decent GPU upgrade, you're looking at a huge expense because there's all this alternative utility for them. People are mining cryptocurrency and stuff like that with them all the time now. But even before, we've had crypto boom and crypto crash like several times. Even before that, the hardware is getting more and more expensive, which means if you're just a person who wants to play games, getting a PC to play PC games means you're either buying a PC to play games that are 10 years old or you're not getting one, really. Now, the last year and a half, 2 years, you can't even get the $3,000 video card. You go to Newegg and you sign up for the lottery that opens up between like 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. Pacific. It opens up for 2 hours. You go and you click, I want this, and you roll the dice. It's the Newegg Shuffle. Maybe you get to buy the RTX 3090 for like $3,000. So not only is it more expensive, you can't even get it. So if you're one of these people that's like, I really want to be the PC Master Race Gaming, it's really hard to do that now. It's really hard to do that. And it's hard to buy it would be hard to buy a competent enough video card to just play Final Fantasy VII Remake on the PC, a game which has been available on consoles for almost 2 years. Now, what will you get with that? Will you get better performance? Possibly. Possibly not, because it's a Square Enix port. What other top-of-the-line PC games are you going to maybe play, like Doom or something, or they come up with another Doom game that will run on an amazing video card or something like that. You get ray tracing, you're paying out the nose to really not get a whole lot of extra performance. And then the system requirements that go up and up and up just kind of lock you out of the market at a certain point where PC gaming, it really is like Master Race Gaming. You can't really afford to do it. But here's the flip side, which is, like I said, you can build a PC to play games that are 10 years old. If you build a PC, or if you're just looking at playing good games, there is a massive catalog of good games going back years and years at this point that you can play, and you can have access to them for very, very little money. I am playing Final Fantasy III when it came out in North America. It's actually Final Fantasy VI. I'm playing it using RetroArch, which runs emulators. This will run on an Android phone. So I have an old phone that I could probably just pull out of a drawer that will run all of this stuff. I'm sure I have one in there. I have an old Android phone, like a Google Pixel. I have one somewhere. It'd be very dramatic if I could just pull it out right now, but I don't. So let's pretend I pulled out a Google Pixel, number one. It's an outdated Android phone, right? It's, not as good as it used to be, but it has higher than HD resolution. It's fast enough to run RetroArch and pretty much all of the Android port games that came out. You could run Open Morrowind Android. It can run Knights of the Old Republic and a lot of those sorts of things. Maybe it's, it's very out of date and can't keep up with some newer phone game, but the phone games all suck anyway. They're all like gotcha games designed to get your money. Maybe it can't run the phone version of Genshin Impact, but it probably could, actually. You can get them for really cheap because people are like, it's old technology. I don't need it anymore. The only reason I replaced mine is the speakers went on in it. But if I were only going to play with headphones, it would be like, and I could make it a gaming machine or make a dock out of it and it only plays on my TV. And you could play retro games just with an old phone worth of hardware. So if you're wanting to play a huge catalog of old games, there has never been more opportunity to play old games and have access to them very cheaply. In fact, probably a really good buy for playing retro games would be like an older Samsung Galaxy phone, like a Galaxy S8 or something. You could probably get one really cheap. And it has like all the things that you'd need on it. It's Bluetooth and it's got good Wi-Fi capability and things like that. And you could even broadcast it to your TV or plug it into a dock that would output HDMI to your TV. And you could have basically a ghetto retro switch just in a phone, and you could hook a Bluetooth controller up to it. And before you know it, you're playing retro games on a budget. And you would play for years before you ran out of a catalog of games to play. But the whole gaming industry builds itself on the newest, best thing, the best new graphics, the coolest new thing. You haven't seen anything like this. You haven't experienced anything like this. Old phones can still do VR and things like that. When just a couple 4 or 5 years old, phones can still do VR. Most of these experiences are actually very cheap to access if you're not looking to get I want to have the RTX on. I want to have ray tracing that makes the lighting look slightly better in ways that most people can't tell on a well-designed game. And there's videos out there, is RTX worth it? And you have people that are experts. You're I could tell the difference, but it doesn't look better necessarily to have all the ray tracing and stuff on for a given game. I have a PS5. I have the newest console hardware. That is actually more accessible than trying to buy a new PC these days. And it's $500, which is really less than anyone would pay for a modern graphics card. That doesn't include the rest of the computer. So you get a whole thing with a PS5, and it's a decent way to have access to games. So if you're looking to have access to games, I think consoles are, even though you can get the consoles, they're easier to get than PC hardware, it seems like. And it's certainly less expensive than buying PC hardware. They have ray tracing, you can set all the settings, we had the Ratchet and Clank game. Turn it on, you can run it at 60 FPS. You're wow, this game looks great. You turn on ray tracing and it runs at 30 FPS, and you're the game looks the same but choppier. I don't know, the ray tracing, I think I noticed, I tried it out in a couple levels. I noticed one level that was covered with rain wet pavement looked better with ray tracing. It looked really cool. But that was it. The regular levels just look the same. Might as well turn on the performance mode, turn on the 60 FPS mode. Things look better at 60 FPS than they do with enhanced graphics at 30 FPS or lower or anything like that. So anyway, my point is that now is probably a better time than ever to get into retro gaming if you just want to play video games that are good and have access to a huge catalog. You got to think, there's all the PS1 games, PS2 games. Those two generations had a bunch of amazing games, as well as Super Nintendo. Super Nintendo games, you can run those emulators on potatoes. They've been running on 300 megahertz IBMs from 20 years ago. So yeah, you can run Super Nintendo emulators, Genesis emulators, no problem. You can run PlayStation, PS2 emulators, really no problem as well. It's just a matter of what device you want to set up to do it. And you could do it with a phone. You could do it with an old phone that you don't even use anymore. You could just set that up for retro gaming and just have it hooked up to your TV if you wanted to. If it was something that was a Samsung phone that had DeX in it, you could have it to just automatically go to the TV. You just turn on the phone or wake it up and play some RetroArch or something like that. So yeah, that's my, I guess, going into the year 2022 retro game lecture. There's never been a better time to hop into retro games because they've never been more affordable or more accessible to everyone. And it's never been harder to get into the next level of that, right? To buy the newest console. I know I have one. To have the newest, best PC gaming rig capable of playing PC games. You're getting the crazy ultra-wide monitors or something like that. It's I would want to get a 4K TV mostly for productivity reasons. If I was playing a whole game with a giant TV, let's cut the top off and let's just play an ultra-wide like I'm used to playing. There's nothing to say you can't do that with a 4K TV. So the 4K TV is really more I want to have more productivity space, move my documents around and that kind of stuff, rather than a gaming setup. But you could do it with that as well. So a lot of people, you already have the gaming hardware really necessary to do a ton of stuff. You can even, you can hack your old PS4, you can hack an old console, and turn it into an absolute beast for playing older games. And that's how I have my Wii U set up actually right now. So my Wii U is basically set up as a Nintendo machine. It plays every Nintendo console going all the way back. You can play every game on it. It's pretty cool to set it up. So I have my whole collections just kind of put on that. And then I have my PS3 and my Vita are to play the PlayStation side. It's just a little different feel. Has the right controllers and stuff. When you're playing PS1, PS2 games on the PS3. The controller really feels the same. So it's a really good experience, I feel like. Anyway, I think I saw a super chat here. Thank you for the super chat, Frank. I really appreciate it. Happy New Year's, David. Happy New Year's to you. My son was born a few weeks ago, and I'm learning how to balance being there for him and my wife while keeping up my creative output. Any advice on balancing the two? Many thanks. God bless you and your family. Have a drink on me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So, yeah, one thing that I did when my daughter was born was I basically set a book up to release about the time that she was born. And the book was Crown of Sight. I don't have it right here, but it's somewhere on the shelf behind me. So I set it all up to just, there's a thing about the base mounts that kind of like bounce around a little bit. It's another one I'm like, man, I should have just gotten one of them TVs, you know what I'm saying? But I don't want to spend money now because I might be moving. I might move out of California. I think things, I don't know. You hang on as long as you can. I think the train's about to go off the rails, so it might be time to get on out of there. Anyway, so after my daughter was born, I didn't do really anything for really almost 2 months. I made a couple of videos because maybe I had some time. But I specifically said I'm not going to even worry about my output because I'm just going to worry about the kid. And it was good because my daughter had infant reflux, which some infants get. Basically, they have really bad indigestion. They spit up a lot. The esophageal sphincter is a little bit weak, and so it causes reflux and discomfort. So the way that she could sleep was to hold her upright. And I talk about this actually in the book. In the Keys to Prolific Creativity book, I talk about this story. I took that opportunity, rather than being productive, I took that opportunity to just sort of consume media. Because I had to spend all this time holding this kid, I ended up watching some movies, some anime series that I hadn't seen before. I played through Final Fantasy VII again, which was really good because I hadn't played that since the 1990s at that point. It was just really good to kind of go back to inputs, things that are inspirational. You need to make time to enjoy art as an artist. So it doesn't all have to be productivity. So that's my first tip. You don't have to spend every minute or every day being productive. You don't have to continue to try to have maximum creative output. There's different things in your life that are going to affect that. We've had so many things happen to my family this year. It's been really hard to have that maximum output. But here's what I've done this year, considering we've had deaths, we've just had so many things happen to us. Try to find a time every day that is yours. Maybe it's an hour of time. Maybe it's 30 minutes of time. Maybe it's more than that. Try to have a time that is yours. If you have a little baby, it's a little harder. Maybe your wife needs help, but you can talk to your wife and be like, okay, like 7 o'clock, I'm going to work from 7 to 8. Like, what's a time that's good? When do you usually sleep with the baby? And I'll work during that time, right? And so you have a time that's set. This is the time that I work. And if you have that consistent time, that's your time. You don't have to worry. You could turn the phone off. You don't have to worry about anything. You can just focus on your goals. You will find that you'll very quickly be able to get into your creative space because everything is set up the same way every time, and productivity will start to build on itself. So that's the first. The first tip is you don't have to be 100% productive. It's okay to not be productive, especially after things like births, deaths, disrupting events, and just enjoy things, because those things will percolate in your mind and will turn into more creative output later on. So you can't expect to have 100% productivity all the time. Tip number 2 is try to set aside a time. Once things are kind of in a place where you feel like you can set aside time, try to set aside some time every day that's the same time that everybody can expect you to do that. Then what you do beyond that is pretty much bonus stuff. You know, if it's like, well, the wife and the baby are asleep, maybe I'll try to write. I'll write for 20 minutes or something like that, or I'll just try to work for a few minutes. And you'll still be able to keep that creative output. But as long as you have that time that's set aside, you'll always be making progress. And it's going to feel good to do it. Now, your progress doesn't have to be lightning speed, but every time you do it, you're getting closer to achieving your goal. So it doesn't feel like a grind. It feels like something that, that you're really enjoying and doing. So that's the other thing. And I guess the third thing is really about setting goals and understanding what kind of goals are achievable when you're really busy. So when you're really busy and you have a lot to do, smaller goals are much more manageable to achieve, and you'll feel much better about achieving them than if you are trying to do big goals. So just as an example, you can shift your focus if you're a writer, you can shift your focus away from writing a large, long novel to writing short stories that you would like to put out or publish or something like that. So rather than making your target book length 100,000 words, you make it 20,000 words. I've done a bunch of 20,000 word books over the last couple of years here and there, and they do pretty well. People like them. I've done a lot of books between like 20 and 50,000 words that actually maybe a little bit longer than that, that have done reasonably well. And it's a lot easier to hit that mark, and it's a simpler story to write because there's less plot points to write. It's just easier to manage it that way. So number one is don't have to be productive. Don't feel bad if you're not productive. It's okay to not be productive and instead to enjoy art, enjoy movies, enjoy reading, enjoy games, whatever it is. Enjoy those things. Number two would be make sure you have a time set aside that's just yours, even if it's a short amount of time, and you're consistent and you do it every day. Because really getting your goals is much more about consistency than it is about sprints or grinding or something like that. You don't want it to feel like a grind. You want it to feel like something that you can enjoy every day. And number three is set really more manageable goals, knowing that you're going to have less time to work and it's going to be harder to be productive. So find a goal that's smaller rather than saying, I'm going to write a book that's 100,000 words, write a book that's 50,000 words or something like that, and scale things down so that you can still achieve what you're trying to achieve. You can still get some things done that matter. It could be something that's like a social media strategy, like rather than doing long videos, you're going to do short videos. Rather than doing long blog posts, you're going to break blog posts into 4 parts and publish them over time. There's lots of different ways to adapt your strategy so that the goals are easier to meet. And in my experience, if you have goals that can be met, maybe weekly, monthly, then it's a lot easier to keep track of them and to meet them than it is to say like, okay, well, I'm going to write a 300,000 word fantasy epic right now. If you're okay not having that feeling of achievement, you can keep doing that even when you're very, very busy. But it might be a good idea to say like, well, is there a shorter story that's related to this? Is there a shorter story I'm interested in writing that I can actually get done during this time? And I think that helps a lot. So hopefully that's helpful to you and it makes sense. Let me grab some other things from the chat. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense to you and that's helpful and you can actualize those and use those. Part of productivity is achieving an end product. And so setting a reasonable goal at the end product and then having a process that's going to meet that, that's really what you want to be focused on. So try writing some shorter books, might help a lot as well. Jazz songs are some of the worst offenders of stupid recording. The drummer is not only in my left ear. Yeah, this is a thing a lot of producers can do wrong, which is to pan things 100% left or 100% right. That's not the way sound works in real life. So if you put headphones on, now if you just have things 100% left, 100% right, not headphones, it'll sound fine. As soon as somebody puts headphones on and they hear, it sounds awful. So 100% panning really can be good or bad depending on what your setup is like, what kind of stereo setup your audience is going to use. You don't know for sure. And I think more people listen with headphones now than ever have before because of phones and things like that. So it's probably better if you're going to mix different instruments and pan them and create a stereo mix that you don't do 100% panning, meaning you can do this in your DAW software, 50% left, not 100%. If you do 100% left, it may sound okay coming out of regular speakers, but as soon as your audience puts on headphones, it's going to sound really weird sometimes. And I can tell this with like old Slayer recordings where like everything is in separate ears. Nothing's in the center channel except for the vocals, and it can be, especially with me, because I perceive stereo differently than people because of the hearing problems in one ear. It starts to sound really weird. Why do artists often resent their own work when it becomes massively popular? I don't know. I think it's because people like it for reasons that the artist doesn't anticipate. You know? I think, I'm trying to think of Alan Moore, who wrote Watchmen. Really hated that people liked Rorschach. He really hated that people liked that character. So I was trying to write a character that people would hate. And they loved him. Turns out people like badass characters. So I think because sometimes fans can like things for reasons that you don't anticipate. I beat the Final Fantasy IV boss. So satisfying. Playing Final Fantasy V and trying NES Dragon Spirit. The difficulty level on NES is no joke. Yeah, NES games were hard because they were coming from arcades where the difficulty was about trying to suck quarters out of people. So you made really hard games. That's how you increase the length of the game. I had a whole article on this, actually. I need to make it into a video. Let me find it. Because I think this is a really good one. Extending playtime. How the goal of a game is to take more of your time. This, if you are not aware of how this works with game design, this will make you rethink games. The goal of a game is to eat your time up as much time as possible. And you can do that with difficulty by making you repeat levels over and over again because they're hard, like Dark Souls or Super Mario Brothers. Or it could be done through lots of content, which is the hardest way to do it. Or it could be by making you repeat different content like daily quests or something in World of Warcraft. It's to extend playtime. But when players become aware that their time is becoming wasted, they often will resent those approaches. So that's the thing. It's important to enjoy life and not constantly work. I agree, Jared. I appreciate the answers. Thank you, Frank. I can't stand panning hard left or hard right unless it's a cool sound effect. Instruments need to be produced in a way where I feel like I'm in a concert hall or a studio. I agree. But if they're on separate speakers, like not on your ears, it sounds a lot more natural because you could have a violin here and it will resonate through the whole space. You'll hear it in both ears because your ears are not isolated from each other. If you put isolating headphones on, that's when you realize it sounds very unnatural to have it panned that way. So it doesn't sound unnatural if you have external speakers, let's say, but it sounds very unnatural if you don't have that, if you have headphones. So these days I really don't pan anything 100% because I know, I'm going to guess, I actually don't know this, but I'm going to guess like 90% of listening happens on headphones these days. So you really should program your music with headphones in mind. Now, if somebody's listening on external speakers, not having hard panning is not going to like reduce the stereo effect all that much anyway. So you're not really losing that much. I think the optionality is really better for not doing hard panning and like trying to force a maximum stereo effect, not in headphones. You're going to get the best stereo effect if it's hard panned and you're not using headphones, but as soon as you put on headphones, that stereo effect is bizarre. It doesn't sound right. It sounds unnatural. So there's that. All right. Let's play some games here. If I can get this up and running here. Let's get our... just gonna... There it goes. Okay. Now the sound's really weird today. Let me see if I can figure that out. Yeah, I'm getting some weird sound. Let's see here. Let's see here. Yeah, the sound's a little off on mine. It's like crackling a little bit. So maybe try to troubleshoot that at some point. Let's see what we got here. I don't know if anybody has any tips. How are you so spot on about everything up until now, and why does it relate so much to my situation? I don't know. I think there's a lot of common experiences. You know, we're not as unique as we think sometimes. Latency, frame delay. One. 64 milliseconds. I don't know. I'm gonna turn that on. It almost sounds like I have like the speed mode on or something. Yeah, it almost sounds like I have the turbo mode on. You can even output this to CRTs, which is kind of cool too. It's that phosphor filter. I like that. All right, well, we don't need to spend all day trying to figure that out. Do some headphones have more bass in them than studio speakers? I get that with my setup. I think it just really depends on the headphones compared to what speakers you're running. You know, producing bass frequencies depends on so many different little things with the drivers. You notice you can get better bass frequencies like with earbuds that completely seal up the ear canal because they create a vibrating column of air inside your ears. It allows the bass to hit better, but it's not necessarily good for your ears, I think, either. Fig. Frame throttle. Fast forward rate. I don't know. 1. All right. Quick menu. Controls. One controls. See if there's like a speed thing somewhere. Auto. There's a key bindings here. I'll find it some other time. All right, let's resume. Yeah, you can hear for some reason the audio is really stuttering a lot. Not sure what that is. It sounds really bad though on my end. Not sure quite what's going on there. I don't need to unequip anyone. Who do I have in my party? Alright, I got a good party here. Yeah, it's got there's a really bad sound right now. I'm not sure why. Let's see if we have. Let me look around because I really want to fix that. I don't know why it's doing that. Audio options. No. No, it's not doing anything. Latency, frame delay, 0. Run ahead to reduce latency. Let's turn that off. Normal. Controls. Settings. I wonder if there's like a input. Turbo mode. Turbo default. There's like a fast forward button. I remember I had it as like spacebar. Anyway. There he goes. It puts a big... I'm not sure what the deal is. Yeah, it wasn't doing that during the opera scene, so I don't know quite what's going on. Is the engine room? Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, we want to add in. Chad. There we go. Let's try the rewind feature turn off. Rewind. Let's rewind support off. Let's try that. Yeah, I'm still getting it. Some stuttering. Let's try turning on. This is a totally boring stream where I'm like doing settings. Threaded video. Black frame insertion. I don't think that's doing it. Frame throttle. Fast forward rate 0. All right, sync to exact content frame rates. We'll try that. It's not going to work. It's not going to do anything. Probably not doing anything here. We'll just roll with it. There we go. No. Okay. Let's see, where are we supposed to go now? Well, let's just go. I think we could actually go back and get like more moves for Gao or whoever. Miranda. Didn't we just come from here? I think we did. I think we need to go now to... It seems to have gone away. Let's do... Here we go. Let's just load. don't remember if we're landed here or we can move or not. Because I forgot what we were doing last time. It's been too long since I didn't play at all. Yeah, it's not as bad now, whatever's going on. Oh, let's refresh our party before we do anything else. Here we go. Chocobo stable. Happy New Year to you. I don't remember where I was going. Look up a walkthrough. Could be just like I'm running things. I'm running too many things in the background. And it's just doesn't have priority or something like that. Go back to vector. Did we already do vector? We did the Magitech factory. So I'm thankful for this because I just don't remember what I was doing last time. This walkthrough shows like the phone graphics, which look awful. I think I can take the airship somewhere, right? I don't remember. I think we got to take it somewhere. How much to spend on PC audio output or just go for a headset? That's a great question. So, it really depends what you need to do. It really depends on what you're using your computer for. So, if you're trying to record music, you are probably going to want to buy an actual interface, which will do all the things you need. It'll drive headphones. It'll just do everything you need. If you're looking to just have headphones for general use, personally, I am always unimpressed by USB headsets. I have not heard one that I think sounds really good. But it just depends what you want. You know, if you are okay with kind of okay sound, then it's not a big deal. Yeah, maybe the airship's crashed. I don't think it is, though. Oh, no, it is crashed. You're right. So we got to get something to fix the airship. We have to go to the Esper world? I thought we already did that. Maybe not. don't remember if we went back to Narsh. Oh, did we? I think we did. Yes, we did. All right, we already went back to Narsh. Went to the sealed gate. Did we do that? Yes, we did all this. Imperial Palace. Okay, yes. All right, we do need to go. You're right. We need to go to Vector now. Sorry, I can't remember exactly what we were doing. Anyway, okay. So, headsets. I'm usually unimpressed by them. If you want the best sound, you can get just an external digital audio converter. A Sound Blaster makes some really good ones for gaming. And just plug a good pair of headphones into it, you know. I don't have mine here. They're in the other room. But, yeah, you just plug a good pair of headphones into them. And that's probably going to be as good a sound as you can get. A lot of... Where was that little chocobo thing? Arbolt. I wanted to do the other one. It's okay. This works. So yeah, I guess your options would be you could try to buy a good pair of speakers. If you're doing full audio production, you want to buy an interface and a good set of studio monitors. If you just use headphones for everything and that's what you like to use, buy a good DAC and a good pair of headphones. And that's probably going to be good. And an external mic or something like that, and you're probably good. You can get some cheap desktop mics. Fire dance. Yeah, I think we negotiate with the... There's a way to answer his questions so he gives you items. That might be cool. That sucks. If you live in an apartment, it really sucks if you have like neighbors. That's where a lot of people are. If you live in an apartment or, you know, even me living as an adult... I have to use headphones a lot because my kids are, you know, I want to wake the kids up or wake my wife up or just annoy people with loud sounds. I don't have a 5.1 system. My kids they don't like loud noises. So to like really blast a theater quality sound experience, my kids wouldn't like it. They'd be annoyed by it. They're really sensitive to loud sounds. Whereas I'm deaf and I can't hear anything. Where was that little chocobo thing? I thought it was around here. If you consider doing audiobooks for some of your fiction, putting your own music tracks in them, there's an audiobook playlist for a bunch of my books. So yeah, you can get some free on YouTube and there's some on Amazon as well. As far as putting music in them, you actually will get your files rejected if you have music in them. If you're trying to sell the audiobooks through Audible. So you have to have no music. Now, if you buy an audiobook, a lot of times it'll have music, but that's because it's from a publisher that just negotiates directly with Amazon. They don't go through ACX system, which you have to do as an indie. So yeah, I could do it on YouTube, but I couldn't really do it on, I'm trying to find this chocobo place. I know it's around here. Couldn't really do it on Audible, let's say. Finding any smokers or midnight tokers soon. Yeah, I mean, headphones are good. Like, honestly, you're probably not going to regret buying a good pair of headphones because you can use them for so many things. You could even buy something like a pair of good quality Bluetooth headphones, like a pair of Sony headphones or something like that. You could buy a good quality pair of those, and it's probably a decent investment even. We got leaked Gil. No, it's really not copyright law that makes them do it. It's their own thing. They just don't want any music on it. They only want the files to be formatted in one extremely specific way. And so if your files are not formatted in that extremely specific way, then you won't get it, even though a regular, like the big five publishers, can do it. Yeah, it has nothing to do with copyright. It has nothing to do with copyright. It's just the way that they require their formatting done. You know, like Amazon doesn't check the copyrights on your covers. It's not their job. They've never cared about checking for copyrights. It's your job if somebody is violating your copyright to sue them. It's just that they think listeners don't want that. And they might be right, you know. They might be right. Like a listener could, a listener could download an audiobook and then get very upset that there's music with it that they don't like. They're like, I wanted an audiobook. I didn't want some kind of musical presentation. I didn't want that. It's the same thing if you have like multiple... You can't upload a radio drama to ACX, for instance. They just won't let you do it. They think, no one wants that. Oh, the best answers are to our hometowns, leave him in jail. That was inexcusable. Juno is one of us. Next two Q&As are all worth equal points. Yeah, Espers have gone too far. All right. Thank you, Wade. I appreciate that. That war's truly over. Yes. What on earth? Let me just see what on earth. What's going on? I like how he's still letting us buy weapons. Find that really funny. And the other thing about getting stuff through ACX is it can take months. It could take months and months to get stuff approved. It could take a really long time. Thank you for the super chat, Sophian. Hey, can you motivate me to continue reading Hyperion after Chapter 1 in the face of getting back into WoW and anticipating a high-end laptop in the near future? Yeah, just Read it or turn the audiobook on. The audiobook's probably a really good option too. I think I have the audiobook of it. It's good. You can just put that on while you grind or something. I used to do that, just listen to audiobooks and stuff while I did the WoW grind. And here's something I will say about Final Fantasy XIV is I have never put something on in my second monitor while playing. I shouldn't say never, but I just don't do it. Like, the game is interesting enough that I don't ever feel like I'm grinding away and want to just put something on the other monitor, you know? I guess that's not the way. I guess maybe we go up this way. Everybody's all stupefied. Yeah, here we go. Alright, this guy. What are you talking about? Talking with espers? It was like this when we got here. So yeah, get the audiobook. Put the audiobook on while you do PvP. Or, you know, while you grind out your Frost Saber mount or whatever it is. Okay, here we go. The Emperor is expecting you this way. I am going to stream tomorrow probably too. I think Mr. Medicare's stream is on right now, so I'm expecting to lose some people. It looks like I have. That's fine. What if the book is interesting enough to not listen to it while grinding WoW? I don't know. You know, it's okay to not like a book. I would give it at least 100 pages because I think Hyperion's pretty good. So if after 100 pages you're just not interested in it at all, it's okay to not read the book, in my opinion. You don't have to read every book that other people like. Kefka's been imprisoned for unspeakable war crimes. He's on his last legs. The war is over. Emperor Gestal waits inside. Talk to these guys. The power of the Esper is phenomenal. Peace at last. There he is. I've lost my will to fight. The Emperor's had a change of heart. Cid! The Espers came to save their friends. When they learned the others had perished, they went berserk and trashed the town. Never will I forget their shrieks of rage. It's kind of like my Cid voice. We're hanging up our weapons and armor for good. The powers of those espers, I had no idea. Let's turn this light off. It's starting to hurt my eyes. No. There we go. There we go. Ah, that's better. I had no idea. They'll shred the world. We must get them to understand that we are no longer at war. No human's gonna make them sit down and listen. But for now, my friends, let us feast and rejoice. There's some people here who prefer to keep fighting. Please, before we dine, talk to as many soldiers as you can. Make them understand. Please talk to as many soldiers as you can. You have 4 minutes until dinner. Kefka's been imprisoned for unspeakable war crimes. He's on his last legs. One person. The war is over. We've lost our will to fight. The espers that emerge from the gate are terrifying to the Empire. You go through here. Go out this way. Up the stairs. Up the stairs. Through the door. Up here and around here. Into here? Oh, it's locked. There's a guy here. My whole family was lost in the war. Kefka's scum, it serves him right. War ended before we could use this machine. Kefka's in jail. You deserve a thrashing. Oh, he's attacking me. No, I did it backwards. Chainsaw. He had a tent. There we go. You're strong. Maybe you really can defeat the Espers. Actually, let's go up in here. Nope. Not yet. There we go. You're not wanted. How did I get up here? Oh, there's a door there. Is there a door on the other side? Yeah. Let's go down that door. Is there? Yeah. The Empire will never die. See if we can find any more soldiers. It might be all of them. I don't know for sure. Let's see if there's anyone out here. Oh, there's a few more we can talk to here. I heard you're the strongest of the returners, so just how strong are you? Oh, we gotta fight this guy. Suplex! Not bad, pretty strong. I've slain too many people. I'll never live a normal life. Someone ought to thrash ya. I think that's all of them. I think that's the max that you can do. Because I actually can't get past this guy. And I think I've gone everywhere I can go. Oh, it doesn't let us go. Can't go back there yet. Okay. These aren't doors, are they? No. Not seeing any other doors. Any fun notes from the Stewart home Christmas? Not that many. I talked to the armored soldiers. That evening, the banquet with the Emperor took place. My kids are sick, so like even if I could somehow go out and party tonight, all my kids are sick. Everybody in my house has been sick except for me. Somehow I didn't get sick at all. This way, please. Accidentally turned off my monitor. Yeah, this is the part where we negotiate with the Emperor. Let's see here. You can count me in as a returner. Imagine all of us here together sharing a meal. First, we must have a toast. To the Empire. Ah, to our hometowns. Well then, to our hometowns. As you know, Kefka's in jail for war crimes. What shall we do with him? Leave him in jail, pardon him, or leave him in jail? Well, let's let him stew in his cell for a while. Then we'll decide what to do. I truly apologize about the poisoning of Doma. No one dreamed Kefka would use poison. That was inexcusable. I'm so terribly sorry. Kefka's being severely punished and we're cleaning up the poison. By the way, with regard to General Juno. Juno is one of us. Kefka was lying. The General Juno realized the war was stupid before anyone else. That's why she joined the Returners. Any other questions for me? Why'd you start the war? Maybe that. Why'd you start the war? My desire for power got the best of me. Now I've come to my senses. With your permission, I'd like to talk about the Espers. Why'd we have to talk to the soldiers? Some of my men refused to embrace peace. I felt they'd understand if they actually met you face to face. I'll ask the next question. Why do you want peace now? I feel we need each other's help at this time. My empire has been decimated by the Espers that emerged from the sealed gate. They're acting spiteful. Unless they're stopped, they'll rip the world asunder. Yes, the Espers have gone too far. After the Espers went on their rampage, I knew I couldn't go on with my war. I asked myself why I had started it in the first place. By the way, about those questions you asked me, which did you ask first? Right, anyway, more than anything I want peace. That's my true dream. I want you to understand that. You seem a bit tired. Care for a rest break? Yes, let's take a break. Or shall we keep talking? I don't know which one I should do. Let's keep talking. That all you really want is peace. That your war is truly over. I understand. I've ordered this war to be over. Now I must ask for a favor. After they devastated my empire, the Espers headed northward towards Crescent Island. They must be found. We must tell them that we're no longer their enemy. After all that I have put them through, it is up to me to set things right. That is why I need to borrow Lucina's power. Only Lucina can bridge the gap between Esper and human. We must make for Crescent Island aboard the freighter from Albrook. Will you accompany me? I'll have my finest warrior accompany us, General Leo. If you consider moving to Idaho or Montana, I have nobody there, whereas my whole family lives in Texas. I haven't read Joel. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Skusin? Strategic Relocation. I have not. General Leo, nice to meet you. Didn't I see you at Doma? I'm sure I did. So that was General Leo. I'll be waiting for you in Albrook. We must find the Espers and come to terms with them. You are our last hope. If Lucina goes, I'll go. Key, thank you. The rest of you wait here. I smell a rat. Agreed. It's hard to trust the Emperor just like that. We'll stay here and investigate. Please do. Leave no stone unturned. Right. And you be careful. Gotta have some sprint shoes in there somewhere. There they are. This game is like so annoying without those sprint shoes. War's over. A message from the Emperor. Because you were able to talk to so many soldiers, you are to be rewarded as follows. Imperial troops have withdrawn from South Figaro. In addition, our troops have also pulled out of Doma. We hereby give you the right to take any weapons you desire from the Imperial base to the east, near the sealed gate. Well... Albrook support to the south of the Empire. A matchstick armor-hauling ship plies the waters between. There in Crescent Island. We'll penetrate the Imperial base. You deal with the Espers. The rewards. Those are the rewards. Alright. We really trust the Empire. I have an awful feeling about this. Makes sense. Can't just forget about Espers. Could Gestal have meant such a thing? Team up with the Empire to track down an Esper. Alright, I think I'm going to call it there. Because we're a little bit over the hour. So I am going to do that. I'm going to save state real quick. And then we'll walk out of town and save the game again, I think. I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out with me on New Year's Eve. Hope you guys have a great rest of your evening, and I'll probably stream tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific. So check the storehouse by the sealed gate. I'm not sure where that is. Oh, some guys are going to fight us. Yeah, I watched Matrix on HBO, which I'm... If they get rid of that, I'm going to miss it because I really don't like going to the cinema anymore. It's just like it's too much trouble. Anyway, all right, I'm going to go ahead and call it there, guys. I do appreciate it. I will see you all next time, or probably tomorrow at 1. If you feel like stopping by and you're okay after New Year's Eve, then great. I'll see you then. Take it easy, folks. Have a good one. Boop, boop, boop. And here's the music.